You're mine now. You belong to me. Today we're going to play a new fun game.
Hello, my name is Dan, and I am just a dream. Your name's Nicolette.
Nicolette?
Yes.
Nikachu.
Nikachu, I found you. I get loads of Pokemon points for finding the Nikachu.
Did you ever play, what was that Pokemon thing that, Pokemon Go, did you ever play that back in the day? I think it's still around.
No, I didn't ever play it, I'm afraid. Are we not going to do the intro? We're just going to go straight to talk about Pokemon.
Oh, we can.
That game that was popular in 2007. I mean, we can if you want.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks since we recorded, and I've totally forgotten how you do a podcast. We've done names. I think we've established that I'm just a dream. I'm a dream within a dream, actually.
Yeah.
And within that dream, we record a podcast. This is our 57th episode, and this is our Mindfuck Movies episode, which we sort of decided we're going to call WTF. Or something like that. We're going to be talking about Mulholland Drive and Triangle. So if we can figure out what happened in Mulholland Drive, even a little bit, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
After that, we're going to choose our topic and our films for the next episode. And then the final section is Stitch Up, where you're going to be talking about Gooby.
Mm-hmm.
The film about the giant bear. What is Robbie Coltrane?
So weird. Anyway.
Yeah. And then we...
I was going to say, sounds like my internet.
Are you talking or am I talking? That's the awkward thing about doing it on Zoom, isn't it? There's a delay, so someone starts talking and you're like...
No, you go.
Oh, well, listen, I was just going to ask how you are, mate.
I've been a bit crazy busy with work. It's been a mind fuck of a couple of weeks with work. Ooh, fun.
You weaved it into the topic. Nice.
Hey. But other than that, it's been like the weekends have been quite lovely. I went camping a couple of weeks ago with my mates, which is like the first kind of big outing I've done since we got out of lockdown. And it was funny because like my friends that I went with, they're like, oh, the last time we saw you was in Greece last year. I was like, holy shit. It was a really good weekend. We talked about movies. One of my mates suggested a movie, which I'll discuss in a sec.
Okay.
Also, went to my first 30th for this year.
Your what?
First 30th birthday. Like, because I turned 30 this year and most of my friends turned 30.
All right, we get it. You've got loads of mates.
Oh, no. Whatever. That's not what I meant.
Oh, I'm popular.
But yeah, it was like the first 30th I went to was on Saturday. I'm like, well, this is weird. Like there should have been like a couple more that I would have attended this year, but because of COVID, everyone had ISO birthdays.
ISO. I love how there's an actual phrase for it now. ISO birthdays. It's typical Australian shortening it as well, isn't it? We ain't got time to say the whole word. You got to shorten it, mate, because we're all fucking busy.
Yeah, it's true. In Melbourne, that's definitely for sure. If you went up north, everyone's like bloody relaxed, and they probably shorten things because they're just too chilled.
What, like Ballarat?
Ballarat. No, Ballarat, that's a place. I'll take it.
I know it is. It's a real place. That's why I said it. I didn't just make it up. I'm just saying words.
What about you? How you been?
Oh, I've been all right, mate. I first podcast that I'm recording in the new place that I'm current. I wouldn't say my new home, but the place that I'm temporarily staying while I sort a few things out. So that's quite nice. I've got a new setup, a bit more space to record, which is lovely. You know, a change of scenery. I had a COVID test the other day, which was interesting. My first one.
Oh.
I had a stick up my nose and a stick down my throat. Have you? I guess you've had these COVID tests, haven't you, with work and stuff?
Yeah, I've had about 3 because with with the film industry. I mean, I'm not on set I don't have to go on set, so I don't have to get it done twice a week. I've had about 3 COVID tests.
It's fine, isn't it? It's just it just
Yeah.
makes me they chuck the stick down my throat and it makes me gag, and then they put it up my nose and I want to sneeze.
Start crying.
Yeah, I did weep
Yeah,
a
it
little
also
bit.
depends on the person. The first time I got it done was fine. The second person that did it, she goes, "Did you break your nose?" I go, "No," and then she like stuck it up even further. She goes, "Oh, there we go." She bloody cleaned out my nostrils doing it. I was like,
Oh,
Jesus
blimey.
Christ.
Yeah, a bit of backup in there, did you? Did your nose just
Yeah.
just fall out of your? I was gonna say your ass, but that's not right, is it? I didn't do biology at school.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, I had a COVID test. I've watched 15 films and I've completed 2 computer games since the last time we recorded.
Hey,
As we said, it's
holy.
been 3 weeks. So I completed Miles Morales Spider-Man on the PS4, which was great. And I completed The Last of Us. And then I almost immediately bought The Last of Us 2. And yes, apart from all of the moving stuff, the fun of moving with vans and, you know, Gary, you get the left side. To me, to you. Oh, you clip the door frame. You clip, and then you bash your. How many times do you bash your hand on a door frame when you move?
God.
Ugh.
We had to because we had some water damage here at my mum and dad's house.
Yeah,
so we
you've
had to
had a
move
leaky
all.
roof.
Yes.
Was it drop bears?
Yep. The drop bears just smashed into my mum and dad's bedroom, and all of this water came out. Luckily, no furniture or any appliances got damaged. But yeah, the other week I had to help them move all the shit out, and like their furniture is so bloody heavy. And Dad's like, "Yeah, we'll just move it ourselves." I'm like, I've got a bloody dolly. Let's move it with like a trolley. What's the point of bloody breaking our backs doing this? He goes, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is much easier." I'm like, "Oh my god." Fucking practicality. What have you been watching?
Oh yeah, films. Let's start with the first one I watched. I watched a film called Adult Life Skills, which was a British film on Netflix, which was it was good. It hit a bit of a nerve. It's about a woman that lives in a shed. She loses her twin, and she lives in a shed for a while. And it's just about her sort of letting go and stuff. And it was very nice. It was a funny film, and it hit a bit of a nerve. The Trial of the Chicago 7. Have we spoken about this before?
No, we haven't.
haven't,
I
have
heard
we?
Movie Drone reviewed this a couple of weeks ago. And I
Yeah,
listened to
they
that
did
now.
actually.
What do you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I love a law film anyway, and there were some really good performances in it. I bought a book actually off the back of it by Abby Hoffman, which is the character played by what's his name? Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
And I bought his book, so I started to read it, and then I decided I wanted to read a different book first. So I started reading The Men Who Stare at Goats. So I'm into that at the moment, and then when I finish that, I might go back and read Still This Book, it's called. But the film I thought was excellent. I really enjoyed it. I was a bit of a sucker for it. I think Movie Drone said in their review that there was some artistic license in it. Some of the stuff didn't happen or didn't happen quite the way it was portrayed on screen, which is always the case with films or often the case with true stories. But I really enjoyed it. I would recommend giving it a watch. I've written down a film called Extraordinary.
And you don't know what it's about.
I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is. What is it? If you're listening to this podcast and you know what Extraordinary is, please write in at P.O. Box PISS. And then I watched Lord of Illusions, which is I felt like watching a bit of Clive Barker. And it's got Scott Bakula. Do you remember a show called Quantum Leap? Is
it a British show?
Moving on. And then I watched a film called Prospect. I didn't love it. It was an interesting idea. It was set off world and sort of about these astronauts who mine for precious materials. But it ended up just being a bit dull and very hard to hear. Probably a bit like this podcast. And then I fell down a rabbit hole of murder things. And I consumed the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix. And then after that, I watched a documentary on Amazon called Ted Bundy Falling for a Killer, which kind of gave platform to the people that have been affected by the murders. So, survivors, a couple of survivors, spouses of people that had been killed, parents of some of the women. And that was a bit more interesting because there was interviews that you hadn't necessarily seen before, because a lot of the time they concentrate on Bundy. But it was nice to see some interviews with other people that you don't necessarily hear from all that often. Off the back of that, I watched the Ted Bundy film starring Zac Efron as Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought, because that popped up on my Netflix and I've been meaning to watch it.
I didn't hate it, but I thought he was hugely miscast. I didn't get it. I think that he wasn't oddly enough. I don't think he was charming enough. So it was all right. It was all right, but it tried to cover too much of the Bundy stuff, and I don't think he was cast correctly. I think it should have been someone else. And then I watched Climax, which Radio Gore Press did an episode about, so I won't talk about that too much. If you want to hear about that, listen to their ep, because I ain't talking about Climax too much, mate. I didn't like it at all. Harrowing.
Stitcher.
Scarred me. Just burned through the last couple. As Above, So Below. Still enjoyed that one. Ghosts of War, dog shit. Avengers Endgame, classic. And last night, randomly, I watched Poseidon.
Huh.
I don't know why. I just needed a sort of a switch your brain off adventure film. So I went for a Kurt Russell film, what is called Poseidon, about a boat that goes upside down. It's all right.
Oh, no, maybe I have seen it. There's been a few versions of Poseidon, right?
Yeah, there has. I think there was one in the 70s with Gene Hackman. And then they did another one with Kurt Russell and Richard Dreyfuss and Josh Lucas.
That's right.
It was all right. It won't change your life, but it's kind of exactly what I needed at that moment. I've been finding it difficult to concentrate on anything. So that's why I played a lot of computer games, and I've watched a few comedy shows and sketch shows and that sort of thing.
What have I watched? Last night, I wanted to watch something nice and easy. So I watched Jack Whitehall's Travel with My Father, the Aussie version. It was all right.
The Aussie version? What do you mean?
Like when he was in Australia earlier this year. I think there's 4 seasons. The first season is my favourite. I watched a short film on Netflix called If Anything Happens, I Love You, which is about 2 parents who have lost their child due to school shooting in the States. That was quite good. I watched a total of 4, 8, 12, 16. Oh, I can count. I work in accounts and I can count.
That's a good start.
I watched a total of 16 films apparently this week. The past 3 weeks. That's pretty.
3 weeks.
It's not a lot.
I did 15, so you beat me by 1.
Yeah, I pushed them out yesterday. I was working from home, and I thought, well, I can put it on next to my screen in the background and watch some really easy films.
I hope your boss isn't listening to this.
I'm pretty sure he's not. I watched an Aussie film called That's Not Me, which is about these twin sisters, one who becomes quite successful in the film industry and the other sister wants to be in the film industry, and she thinks, I'll get this big role and I'll do well, but her sister takes on a small role and then does really well. So it's just like her journey of not being successful and getting jealous of her sister. I finally watched The Social Dilemma, which was not too bad. I watched Tenet.
So The Social Dilemma then. So did you know that Tenet is the same word forwards as it is backwards? Oh, it's Christopher Nolan being all clever. I put a Tenet ban on you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I've not seen it and I don't want to know anything about it.
You don't want to know anything about it?
I've heard that it's a solid 7 out of 10 film.
Solid out of 10, 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. I was for
la 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 la
no, okay.
La 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 la.
I probably
la 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 la. I've got it in this.
No, it's fine. I won't. No spoilers. When I you are the worst. I watched Inception in the cinema.
Oh, Inception's just a dream. It's just a dream within a dream. How topical.
But I watched trailers and there was a massive hype about it. And when I went to see it, I was a little bit disappointed, a bit underwhelmed. I didn't watch any trailers.
You went in dry.
I only knew a couple of things. I only found out Kenneth Branagh was in it until like the
yes.
day that I watched it. Oh God, I wish I could tell you, but I can't.
You can't tell me anything. I know that Branagh's in it. I saw him in a trailer on a boat.
He
only does films where he's on a boat.
No. Oh,
Dunkirk,
does he?
Death on the Nile, Tenet. I mean,
Wild Wild
Frankenstein.
West?
He's on the boat on Frankenstein. Wild Wild West.
His best film yet.
He's on a giant spider in that, isn't he? If I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Then he becomes a giant spider, doesn't he?
He does. He's like the head of Branagh on the body of a spider. Wicked Wild Wild. Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't want none of
Yeah,
this.
you
6
just
gun with a
don't,
running
isn't
that's
it?
Buffalo Soldier. Damn, that's what I told you. She'd be out of that
Oh.
dress when she meets Jim West.
Anyway,
Tenet.
I'll move on. You don't want me to say anything about it.
I just don't want to know any details. I mean, you can tell me if you liked it or not.
Well, out of actors, I feel like Brenner stood out.
Okay.
I'll say that. And then there was a comment about sound mixing, and I would agree with that at the start of the film. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Is that in terms of audio? Like obviously audio. What am I talking about? Sound is audio.
No.
Dialogue.
No, not. Oh, actually, dialogue. There was someone did make a comment about dialogue. I didn't really focus on that as much.
Is it because Bane was Bane in it again? Was he?
Yeah, it sounded.
Oh, you shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane. What a lovely, lovely voice.
Oh.
I'm so
Anyway,
sorry.
I'll move. No, you're fine, mate. You're absolutely fine. I watched Palm Springs, new Amazon.
You didn't score
film.
it.
Oh, I did. Did I not?
I don't think so.
I would give Tenet like 8.5. I reckon. It was quite
all
good.
right. That's encouraging. I am looking forward to watching it when it comes
Yeah.
out. Actually, it's out in. I think it's out in the UK in a couple of weeks. As in to purchase.
Ooh.
So I definitely will watch it. I'll probably buy it for myself as a little treat because I haven't been to the cinema since February.
I've been twice in the last month, which
Fuck
is unusual.
you.
Sorry. I watched Palm Springs. That is, I forgot what the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What's that?
Andy
guy's name?
Samberg.
Yes, Samberg.
Samberger.
Yeah. Yes, that recently came out on Amazon. It's kind of like a Groundhog Day situation.
Oh yeah, like a time loop thing.
Yes, that's that was pretty funny, I'll admit. Like
right.
Some people put it like 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I wouldn't say it's that great, but it's a bit of fun. If you want something nice and easy, watch it. Anomalisa is something that was recommended while I was at camping, which is a bit of a mind trip. Have you watched this before?
No. Is it about someone that's in a dream?
No, it's about this guy. He's going to do a talk about customer service and blah, blah, blah. But everyone he meets all seem the same. They look the same and they speak the same, except for this one woman that he bumps into, who is, I think her name is Lisa.
Is she made of clay?
They're all made of clay because it's a claymation. And then he's like madly in love with her. And then after they get intimate with each other, she becomes boring and then sounds like everyone else. So
doesn't sound very realistic.
Yeah. You get with someone and then it all turns to shit. It's quite realistic. It's weird how anyway, that's probably moving on. I watched Knives Out for the first time.
I suspect foul play, sir.
Yes.
What did you think?
I liked it.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Lot of fun.
I'd like to do a murder mystery
Mystery.
double bill one week, and that would certainly be on my list, I think.
What about Murder on the Oriental Express?
Murder on the Oriental Express.
Orient. Sorry.
No, let's do the Oriental Express. Moving on.
Moving on. I watched The Light Between Oceans, which I didn't realise that was a New Zealand / Aussie. Well, they filmed it in New Zealand / Tasmania. That was good. I watched Ben-Hur, 4-hour fucking film that was on TV on Sunday night.
What, the original Benner?
OG.
Swords and Sandals.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. The chariot race and all of that stuff. Yeah, I think I've seen it when I was a kid.
I think the more recent one came out in like 2016, but didn't get as good reviews as the original. But it's a lot shorter, so you can't be bothered watching 4 hours of it. Watch just a bit of 2 hours.
Half the length, half the quality.
Half the quality, yeah, exactly. I watched Speed Cubers.
I thought you was going to say Speed 2.
No.
Another film on a
Speed
boat,
1.
but that one hasn't got Kenneth Branagh in it. It might have.
Speed is good.
Speed 1
2,
is
not
good.
so much.
Speed 2, terrible. But how is Speed Cube?
Speed Cube is about Rubik's Cube competition.
Yeah.
It was a bit of fun. It was a light-hearted documentary about these two competitors, and they're good friends with each other. One's from Australia, one's from the States, and just about how they got into it and their friendship together, and one idolizes the other. That was lovely.
One day somebody bought me a Rubik's Cube and I thought, I'm going to try and make all the colours match up on this cube.
And I ripped up all the stickers and then I put them back together. And that's how I solved the Rubik's Cube.
I thought that's what you were meant to do.
No, mate, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Oh, okay. Mum, yeah, you can't swap the stickers around on that Rubik's Cube. No, Nicole says you can't do it. I don't know. I guess you got to turn it and figure out how to match them up without doing that. I guess, is that right?
That's right.
There's a documentary about it. It's called Speed Cubers. Yeah, Netflix.
That is correct. Goes for 40 minutes, really quick, and that is all the films that I will discuss. Even though that's not 15.
I didn't do all of mine, to be fair. I didn't do the ones that we're going to talk about shortly in the next section.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we move on to that bit then? The next section.
Let's
now
do that.
We're all anything goes out. All right. Moving on to section 2 then, where we're going to be discussing Mulholland Drive and Triangle for our movies that fuck your head in the mind episode.
Mind challenge.
Mind challenging, as we discussed before.
Yes.
This was your choice of topic based on one of our listener requests some time ago.
Yes.
Film Foods suggested it, didn't they? Which is why you chose it as a topic. And because this is your choice, you got to do a little intro for it, mate. Sometimes we do a quiz, sometimes we do something else and whatever. So I have got no idea what you're doing because we always have it. We always leave it as a surprise, don't we? It's like we never discuss this bit. We never know what's coming. So what have you got planned for this week, my friend?
Well, I thought it's kind of a quiz. It's more riddle. You have to figure out the riddle.
I'm terrible at riddles.
So they're movie-based riddles. So just say, if I say cab chauffeur, what do you think?
Total Recall.
No.
All right, should I be serious and Taxi Driver?
Hey!
Hey!
Yes. I was like, this is easy, Dan. It gets harder as you go.
That's what she said.
Hey.
First one of the show.
So that's the concept of how I'll be doing these riddles.
All right, so you're going to say a riddle to me and I've got to guess the movie title.
Correct.
All right, riddle me this then.
Frightening film.
Scary movie.
Ding ding.
Was that the first one?
That was the next one. Taxi Driver was the first one.
Oh, all right. So I get 2
Uh,
points so far.
Sure. Next one. Best weapon.
Best weapon.
Yeah.
Good.
No.
Top Gun.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. I
Yeah.
read these and I was like, because I was either doing it this way, I was going to give you emojis, but I think this is a bit more fun.
Emojis
Like, I'll give you like
on a podcast.
eggs,
Benedict.
book,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
and then it would have been like Breakfast Club or something. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm glad you
moving
did this
on.
one.
Knife jogger.
Blade Runner.
Yes. I'm glad you like that.
Oh dear.
Next one. Combat Society.
Fight Club.
Very good. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Soft, wet, shapeless mass of books.
What?
Soft, wet, shapeless mass of books.
Soft, wet, shapeless
Mass of books.
mass of books. Soft, wet, shapeless mass of books. Hard, dry, circle.
No.
Podcasts. That classic film. It's a sequel to Ben Hur. Oh, I don't know, mate. Soft, wet, shapeless mass of books.
It's a Tarantino film.
Tarantino film. Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction,
Yes.
Django.
Pulp Fiction.
How is that? Soft, wet, shapeless mass of books. Pulp being soft, wet,
pulp.
shapeless mass.
Yeah, of books.
Fuck off. I bet even Tarantino wouldn't have got that.
I bet he would have. All right, next one. The absence
Quentin,
of
if you're
light.
listening, please, would you have got that?
Yes. Send us an email on twigandfixpod@gmail.com. Is that right? It is now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Whatever.
Next one is the absence of light with a soldier of the Middle Ages.
An absence of light with a soldier from the Middle Ages. One
of your favorites, I think.
Transformers: The Last Night.
It's Transformers, your favorite film. Get out
No.
of town.
I can't even keep that going as a joke. An absence of light. Dark. What was the last bit? An absence of light.
Of a soldier from the Middle Ages. What's another term for a soldier?
Mercenary.
Dark.
Dark mercenary.
No.
Dark.
Opposite of day.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Soldier of the Middle Ages. Yeah. All right. God, this is harder.
Yeah, it gets harder as I go. Hey. All right, moving on. Dad goes after the deity.
Pops chases God.
Well, you got one of the words in it.
God.
Yep. What's after God?
Chasing
Dad.
God. Dad. Father God crit. God. Father of the gods. Father Father loves God. Father fingers no. Father of the
Father
priesthood.
might be the first. Father is the last word. Or...
Godfather. Oh Jesus! Do I get a point for that one then?
No.
What do you mean no?
Father. All right, I'll do the last.
I get half a point. I got father.
You'll get half a point. Why not?
And I got God.
Uh,
I got
yeah.
both of them, but that's not the right way around.
All right. There's two more, but I'll say it. We'll just do one more. Insane greatness amount short. Oh my god! Let me say that again. Ooh. Insane greatness amount shortened.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's one of your favorite films, also. Another term for insane.
Mad.
And then
Mad.
amount shortened.
Madless of the spotless mind. Liam Hemsworth.
It's an Aussie film. Mad.
Was he film Mad?
Mad. No.
Mad Hand. Mad Shift. Mad Left. Mad Right. Madeline.
Hold on. Mad.
Mickelson. Mad Big. Mad Box.
Oh my god.
Mad Men. Mad. Oh, I don't know.
It's one of your favorite films. Aussie film. Mad Max.
Oh, Mad Max. Hang on, say that title again. Where did the Max come from?
Insane greatness amount shortened. So like maximum, max. Max is shortened. Amount shortened. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that quiz. God, it started off really easy and then it got really hard. There was no in between.
Yeah.
Well, what was my score?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of. We'll say 7 out of 9.
Oh,
I don't know.
I had less than that, but we'll go with yours.
Yeah.
All right. 7 out of 9. I call that a success. Riddles. And I love how it ties into the mindfuck theme because I didn't have a clue what was going on for most of that section. That was fun, though.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. Instead of doing a regular quiz, why not do a bit of a riddle?
A bit of a riddle. Who doesn't love a riddle? And I bet you, like, some of the people listening to that would have been like, "It's Mad Max! How do you not know it's Mad Max? It's obviously Mad Max!"
Idiot. You fucking idiot.
Idiot. All right, mate, steady on.
It's what our listeners may be thinking.
Mulholland Drive?
We're going to get it out of the way.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way. So, we picked two films last week, Mulholland Drive and Triangle. We're going to start on Mulholland Drive, which came out in 2001, and it was directed by David Lynch, and it was written by him too. It was 2 hours and 26 minutes long, which was the very first thing I noticed about it. I put it on and was like, fuck's sake.
Bloody long film. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Did I forget to mention that last time we recorded? Sorry.
Yes, you failed to mention that. So, the cast, Naomi Watts, Laura Harring, Justin Theroux, and Robert Forster is in it for about 37 seconds. The budget was $15 million US, and the box office was 21 million. So, not great. Lost a bit of dough. It lost a bit of dough, but it's critically acclaimed, this film, and it seems to be on a lot of people's favourite lists. But I mean, what do you think this film was about?
No synopsis. We're just going to get.
Let's do a synopsis. Let's do a synopsis. We'll edit this in so like it doesn't look like I completely forgot about the synopsis. Actress synopsizing an actress longing to be a star, a woman searching for herself. Both worlds will collide on Mulholland Drive. Blonde Betty Elms has only just arrived in Hollywood to become a movie star when she meets an enigmatic brunette with amnesia. Meanwhile, as the two set off to solve the second woman's identity, filmmaker Adam Kesher runs into ominous trouble while casting his latest project, plus a cowboy. I had that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so synopsis done. The setup is pretty much that. So Betty is Naomi Watts' character. She arrives in Los Angeles and she's all happy. She's just won this dance contest and she wants to become a star. She's very excited and she meets this woman that's lost her identity. Do you know what? That's the first thing that I kind of I wondered if that was sort of one of the themes of the film, was about a loss of identity and Hollywood. I felt like the director was maybe taking a
That's
bit of a
very
stab at
smart.
Hollywood. Oh, thank you. I feel like he was taking a bit of a stab at. I mean, completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. I feel like he was taking a bit of a stab at Hollywood because he had some of the executives who were just arseholes. He had the director who wanted to go with his own casting, but they were pushing for something else. I feel like he was having a stab at executives there. And then he had the archetypes. So he had the cowboys, he had the naive blonde actress coming in who wants to be a star. And then obviously one of the characters loses her memory. That's all I'm going to say about it.
And that is the end of our review. No,
That was Mulholland Drive. Now for Triangle.
So I was waiting because I was like, okay, this is a mindfuck film. So I think it must have got to the last 30 minutes, which is when you figure out what the hell's kind of happened.
Yeah.
Did you understand?
I think so. Well, so Betty and Rita, or Betty it was all Diane's fantasy is what I took from it. So Diane was a failed actor and she was imagining this other scenario.
And she was jealous of, So Betty, who is Naomi Roth's character, who in the reality is Diane. Is that right? Or was it the other way around?
No, it was Diane in the real world,
Yeah. And she fantasizes that she is, permanently, ends up with Rita, who is the woman with amnesia. But in the end, Camilla, which is her actual reality name, is going out with this director who in the fantasy he's just like almost loses the movie that he's about to shoot because of wrong casting. He wants to cast a certain person, but everyone's like, no, if you don't cast this person, then this film's not going to happen, kind of thing. So it's just about her fantasy of picturing that she's doing really well, but in reality she's not. And you get to see that in the last half an hour, I guess.
And her fantasy is explaining, I guess, in her own mind why she wouldn't have got certain roles. She's kind of blaming it on other people that had to make choices because of executives and stuff like that. I think one of the very last things I wrote down was this is Betty's fantasy. So I wasn't sure if I was right about that. So I'm glad that we came to the same conclusion. Oh, we solved it.
We solved it.
Well, tell me this. Riddle me this.
Yes.
Miniature pensioners escape from Blue Cube.
Yeah, that I didn't get.
What the fuck was that about?
I didn't get that bit. I was just like, how does that? Because wait, where did she find? She found the cube in her bag, and she needed the key. Or she had the key, but she didn't have the cube, and then they went to the theater, and then found it there. Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, the cube. They found the cube when they were at the theater, I think, and the key was in Rita's bag with all of the money, I think, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't really know what the Blue Cube was about.
I don't get that bit.
No.
She put the key in the cube, and then all of a sudden she disappeared, and then next minute you see Diane's reality, which is Camilla is going out with the director, and she's making her very jealous, and Diane wants to be with Camilla, but she's just throwing it in her face, pretty much.
What did you think of it? And what kind of experience did you have for this film while you were watching it?
Was I bored by it? I think I was a bit bored and confused at the start because I was just like, when's the mind fuck bit gonna happen?
Oh, it happened. It was very surreal in places.
And the director, ends up living in a shitty spot because he catches his wife with Billy Ray Cyrus.
Was that Billy Ray Cyrus?
Yeah, mate.
It wasn't Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, it was, mate.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And then pours lots of paint on her jewelry, and then ends up in a shitty hotel, gets a message from a cowboy, goes meets the cowboy and says, "You better put this person in the movie, or else this film's not happening."
This is the girl. That cowboy was David Lynch's mate. He was called Monty, apparently, and this is the only film he's ever been in.
There you go.
Those cowboy clothes were his own clothes. They were his
Get
own
out.
clothes.
Brilliant.
Yes, they were not clothes from the costume department. They were his own clothes. Very expensive, apparently. Lynch watched an interview with him. I watched a few actually to try and make sure I'd interpreted this film correctly. And there's loads of stuff that I missed, but I think for the most part we understood it, which is impressive. We got the gist of it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. But he was saying that his friend Monty, who played this cowboy, he said he was great, but he couldn't remember any of his lines. And Justin Theroux's standing there with a board with the cowboy's lines on it, and even then he was still screwing it up. I had a strange experience with this film, which is not that surprising, really. But I was kind of hooked on it. I was kind of engrossed because I was just like, "What is going on? What is going on?" And I must say, it felt dreamlike, and I guess that was the intention. By the time I got to the end of it, I was kind of like, "Oh, it's all a dream." And I always feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out in a film. But while I was watching it, I was kind of hooked by it, just because I was curious, I guess. And like I said up top, I'd be interested to see it again with that knowledge, to see if there's any other things that make more sense on a rewatch. I have heard a few critics say, actually, that if you've only seen it once, then you haven't seen it. That does make sense to me. I think it might just be a little bit too surreal for me.
Okay. The theatrical bit near the end, that was quite a beautiful scene.
Silencio!
Yeah. If I read correctly, Lynch was in like either a music studio, or he had bumped into this woman and asked her to perform something. And I don't know if it's the exact same recording, but it was something similar, and he just like instantly thought, yeah, perfect, gonna add this to this film. Yeah, it was I quite enjoyed that scene. It was quite beautiful but a bit bizarre at the same time.
Final thoughts, I guess. Did you know that this was originally a TV show?
Yes, I read about that.
Basically, it was originally conceived as a spin-off of Twin Peaks. Never heard of it. Apparently, the ABC network, one of the executives watched it, and Lynch describes in an interview that he was watching it while standing up while on the telephone, and he hated it. Anyway, it went into the bin for a year or so, and then Studio Canal, French company, approached Lynch and said, would you like some cash to make this into a feature? So he repurposed all of the material he had to make it into a film.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
And that is what Mulholland Drive is today.
I find it very difficult to score this. It's almost like I'm gonna give it an initial score, and then I feel like I should rescore it after I watch it a second time. So my initial score is going to be a 6. I
kind of get that. I'm like giving it a 7. I feel like it should be higher than a 7.
Yeah.
Concept is quite good. Just maybe it was a bit too long. A little bit bored by it in ways, but also it's quite beautiful. So maybe a second pair of eyes or third pair of eyes, maybe a different story.
Maybe if we had 3 eyes.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's move on to Triangle then, which is a much simpler film.
Yes.
I never thought I'd see the day where I said Triangle is a simple film. So Triangle, 2009, directed by Christopher Smith. The budget was 12 million and the box office was 1.3 million.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that was worldwide box office as well. So it lost a ton, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
Cast, especially as it's got Hemsworth in it. So cast: Melissa George as Jess, Michael Dorman as Greg, and Liam Hemsworth as Victor, plus a couple of others which I haven't written down. The tagline is "Fear comes in waves," and the synopsis reads: When Jess sets sail on a yacht with a group of friends, she cannot shake the feeling that there is something wrong. Her suspicions are realised when the yacht hits a storm and the group is forced to board a passing ocean liner to get to safety. A ship Jess is convinced she's been on before. It's set off the coast of Miami. Bermuda Triangle connections, maybe. They don't really talk about that, but it's sort of
Shot
implied with
in
the location.
Queensland.
Shot in Queensland, was it?
Yep, pretty much Aussie cast as well.
Yeah, Hemsworth, Melissa George. Is Michael Dorman Aussie?
I believe so. Yeah, I saw a few of the actors. I'm like, oh yeah, she's from McLeod's Daughters.
McLeod's Daughters.
Oh yeah,
that's the most Australian thing I've ever heard in my life. McLeod's Daughters.
They're on a farm, with some horses.
I've always been fascinated by Bermuda Triangle stuff, and I think that's why I first watched this film back roughly when it first came out. I probably saw it around about 2010, about a year after it came out, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I bought it on Blu-ray immediately about 7 years later, and I've watched it 3 times in total now, and I think finally I get it. Like the first time I was a bit confused by it.
Okay.
And the second time I think I got it mostly, and now it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit more educated now. I know a few more bits and pieces, so that could be why. And it helps doing a podcast where you talk about films every week. You learn things. It might not seem like it. It's steeped in Greek mythology, this, isn't it?
Yes.
So they're on a yacht. The yacht capsizes. They find this big ocean liner. They get on the ocean liner to escape the yacht after a storm had hit them and capsized them.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I guess that's where the Greek Greek mythology starts to come in with the god of is it wind? Keeper of the winds, I've written down.
Is that what the boat's named after?
Aeolus. And when they board the boat, they find like a mural, and it describes the Sisyphus tale, where Sisyphus he tries to cheat death, and his punishment is an eternity in pushing a boulder up a hill and then it falling down, and he's got to start again over and over again. So time loop, which is where the time loop stuff comes in. So Jess, they all board the ship, and then they find out that someone's killing everyone, and it's a masked killer with a shotgun and a bag on their head, a bit like the Scarecrow from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And it's obviously Jess, because you look down and she's got the same shoes. Yeah, so basically there ends up being 3 versions of Jess.
Like a triangle.
3 points of a triangle, exactly. 3 copies of Jess, 3 time loops. Actually, the room that they go into, where I think it's called a berth. Right?
Ah, yes.
I don't know. We'll just call it the room. The number is 237, which is a reference to The Shining. Reference. Yeah. And a lot of the decor was Shining-esque as well. So I enjoyed that. That's something I didn't notice on my first 2 watches that I noticed in this one. Yeah, so, and then basically they all get killed. There ends up being loads and loads of copies of dead bodies, loads and loads of copies of certain chains and jewellery and stuff. So you get what's been going on. Eventually, Jess becomes... the Jess that trying to explain this. Jess that boards the boat that we're with becomes the final Jess that's killing everyone.
And then she gets she goes off board. She
gets pushed overboard by herself.
Yeah.
And she washes up ashore back in Miami, and she goes to her son, or goes to her house. And she sees herself being physically abusive of her son. And she kills herself, stuffs her in the trunk. They have a car accident. They crash.
Yes.
And that's where it all sort of ties together, isn't it? Because she crashes, or like she gets out of the car, and then the sky goes black. And a taxi driver comes out of a taxi, funnily enough. And he's all dressed in black. And he's like, "Where do you want to go?" And she goes to the port. Was it called the Triangle Port? I don't know. Can't remember now.
I can't remember.
The porty port of boats. And then that's where it all sort of ties together. So she's died. The Grim Reaper is the taxi driver. Taxi driver's like, "Where do you want to go?" She she wants to get back on the boat so she can try again to
So her son doesn't die, kind of
as
thing.
opposed to accepting what she's done
Mhm.
and moving on, I guess, into the next realm, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
She's destined to just relive this thing over and over again because she's tried to be a bit crafty. She's tried to cheat death, and she doesn't own her mistakes. And the truth is that she is a fucking horrible person.
Yeah.
And her punishment is getting on the boat and having herself murdered by herself.
3 more times.
Yeah, makes all the sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it just kind of it's like, because when she originally gets to the port to go on the yacht with her friends, it kind so you see that, and it kind of at the end of the film, it's like that same loop is starting again, where she arrives there, and Liam Hemsworth's character meets her, and she seems confused, and he's like, "Oh, what, is she okay?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't think so." Yeah, I understood it by the end of it.
Yeah, and that's where she started pushing the boulder up the hill again, if
Yeah.
you're using that metaphor, which they quite clearly said in the film. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this film. I think it's a really, really good film. I've seen it 3 times now, and it'll probably be a while before I watch it again. But I do enjoy it. I think it's a very original film. It's an old story, but told in a new way. And I was considering putting this on a time loop double bill because I put it on our movie Set on the Water, and I didn't. I did, but you didn't choose it. And then I was considering putting this on a time loop double bill, but I thought maybe that's a bit of a spoiler, so I decided not to. But when you said mindfuck, I was like, oh, triangle.
Yeah,
great.
Perfect.
Yeah, I thought Melissa George was really good in it. I thought the production was really decent. Well, I thought that it looked very good, considering it was a 12 million budget for a film that's set on the water. 12 million is bloody cheap. I mean, it's definitely a mindfuck film. It certainly qualifies. For once, I think we've chosen 2 films that totally qualify for the topic. 100% mindfucky. So if you're in the mood for getting fucked in your mind, insane in the membrane, I would definitely go for Triangle and Mulholland Drive. Yeah, I'll give this an 8 out of 10 for me. It's an 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. No more, no less.
No more, no less. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. First time I've seen it, I would definitely watch it again.
There are parts in it that a little bit like I imagine Mulholland Drive, where they would make a bit more sense. It's not as anywhere near as complicated as Mulholland Drive, in my opinion, or it seems to be more connected, whereas Mulholland Drive feels very disconnected. But I get the feeling that if you think about it hard enough, you could connect all of the dots. Whereas this, it's not as ambiguous, and it does tie in together quite nicely.
You know what would have been an interesting mindfuck film? I'm thinking of Ending Things. That is a very mindfuck film, and I'm still confused. I think I mentioned this a couple months ago that I watched it, and I'm confused. I'm still confused by it. I haven't done any more research about what happened in the film, but that would consider as a mindfuck. We would have spoken too long about it and probably still wouldn't know exactly what the hell happened in that film. But anyway,
it's long as well, isn't it? We'd still be watching it.
It's long, yeah. It would have been too long.
I do want to watch it, but I've heard that it's very mindfucky. And I know that after I've watched it, it's going to suck up so much of my time watching YouTube videos.
Let's move on to the next bit.
We are going to now pick our topic and our films for the next episode. And because we have gone bi-weekly last couple of episodes, we're going to stay bi-weekly for at least a couple of weeks to see how things get on with our lives and stuff we've got to do. Or life. Don't do that.
Don't start.
Yeah. Because we've screwed up our calendar, you're going to choose a topic again.
Yeah, you're giving me more homework.
I'm giving you more homework. Yeah.
Which is just what I need right now. No, it's fine.
Because you're not busy enough.
No, not at all. I thought drinks double bill because it's silly season. And what do you do when it's silly season? You get lots of drinks in you. And put your head under the table. That's not you.
Put
You
your head
drink
under the
yourself
table.
under. You drink yourself under the table. That's what I meant to say.
Bury the head in the sand and drink yourself
Yeah.
under the table. But you merged the two. So
Yeah.
you drink your head under the table. What's silly season? Because
Silly
it's
season. It's Christmas and everyone goes out and has Christmas parties and they
It's
do
not
silly
Christmas.
shit.
It's December. It's not Christmas for the whole of December.
And New Year's you get a bit silly.
Yeah, well, I would argue that that's a year-round thing for me.
That's like a daily thing for me.
That's like a Tuesday. So
Yeah.
drinks in films. I have interpreted this as because it's quite difficult to choose film about drinks.
Yeah.
We spoke about Cocktail earlier on in a Twin Peaks podcast, Albert and I, which was fucking awful.
There's a Bollywood version of Cocktail. Let's
Is there?
review that instead.
It can't be any worse than the Tom Cruise Cocktail where Tom Cruise makes a drink and then Tom Cruise seduces all of the ladies and maybe his boss thinks, oh, Tom Cruise is cool, so I'm going to teach Tom Cruise how to do more cocktails and womanize more ladies and Tom Cruise. So I interpreted this as I basically chose films with bars in them.
I went for drinks in particular.
Very specifically.
Very specifically. So here are my picks. Number
Right.
one is, you ready to go? I always forget to
Me?
get a
Are you
pen.
talking to me? Are
Yeah,
you talking to Gary?
to Gary.
Gal, she's talking to me.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Number one.
it's on Netflix. You can't. No, you can't. You can't change the stickers on a Rubik's cube. No, Nicole said it. So now we're going to choose 3 each. We're going to knock 2 out of each other's list to come up with a final 2. So you're going to give me your 3 because you choose. Yeah, the chooser of a topic goes first.
Number one is Whiskey Galore.
Never heard of it.
You definitely haven't heard of this one. Number 2 is the 101-year-old man who skips out on the bill and disappears.
This is the title.
Yep.
I ain't got enough room on my little number 2 section. Right, can you say that again, please? The man.
The 101-year-old man.
Well, the 101-year-old man
Who skipped out on.
who's skipped out on.
Yep. The bill and disappeared.
On the bill.
Yep.
The TV show.
Sure. Swedish film, that one.
Right.
And after all that, and number 3, Wine Country.
And am I spelling that Cuntry?
Yep.
We're choosing that one then. Okay. You're just doing this because you're going to just try and screw me over with doing the recap, aren't you?
I can do the recap if you like.
Right. Mine are nowhere near as obscure as yours. Mine are very obvious, in fact. Okay. My first pick is From Dusk Till Dawn, because they go to a bar, what is called the Titty Twister. My second pick is With Nell and I, because they are alcoholics. And my third pick is Shaun of the Dead, because they're trying to escape the zombie apocalypse by going to the pub. So to recap then, strap yourself in. So to recap, you have chosen Whiskey Galore, the 101-year-old man who skipped out on a bill and disappeared, Swedish, and you picked Wine Country. I picked From Dusk Till Dawn, With Nell and I, and Shaun of the Dead. And now immediately we knock one out of each other's list, so we're left with 4. I feel like Wine Country is probably a documentary.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy, all right.
It's got Tina Fey and all those regular comedians that work with Tina Fey.
Okay. Listen, purely because I don't want to say this title next episode, I'm going to knock out the 101-year-old man who skipped out on a bill and disappeared in Swedish.
Oh, what a shame.
Because I don't want to say that title every time we speak about it.
I think it was a pretty average drink film anyway.
All right. What are you going to knock out of mine?
I'm going to get rid of From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn is gone. All right then. So to recap, what's now left in your list is Whiskey Galore and Wine Country, and what's left in my list is With Now and I and Shaun of the Dead. I guess, can you tell me a little bit about one of yours?
So let's start with Whiskey Galore, directed by Gillies McKinnon. That sounds about right. It nailed it. It came out in 2016. It's only 98 minutes long. And the synopsis is, in the story of the inhabitants of the isolated Scottish island of Todee, their outer inbreds, where gloom sets in as their wartime rationings of whiskey runs out. When the cargo ship of the SS Cabinet Minister runs aground and screws islanders run rings around buffoonish English home guard. Commander Captain Waggett and conspires. I'm not making any sense. Waggett.
Decision made.
Captain Waggett
Captain Waggett.
and conspires to hide away the cases of the precious amber nectar. It's a true story, apparently.
There's no whiskey. There's loads of whiskey. I'm hiding it.
They're hiding the whiskey.
Right.
They're rationing their whiskey.
What was the was that drama?
Romance comedy? No.
Romance comedy.
That I doubt that. I don't think it's one of those romance movies. I saw it briefly. I feel like it's something that you may be interested in. Wine Country, directed by Amy Poehler. Is that right? That comedian.
Amy Poehler.
Poehler. That's the one.
Yep.
Tagline is, "Friendship is a trip." And the synopsis is, a group of friends head to the land of oaky Chardonnays and big and bold Cabernet Sauvignon for one member of the squad's 50th birthday party.
Okay. What year was this? It's fairly recent, isn't it?
2019. Yeah, it was last year.
Okay. And that is a comedy again?
That is comedy, yeah.
Getting ready for the comedy, yeah. All right, shall I tell you about mine then?
Yeah.
So my first one was With Now and I. It was directed by Bruce Robinson. It came out in 1987. And it stars Richard E. Grant as With Now and Paul McGann as I. So synopsis, the tagline is, if you don't remember the 60s, don't worry, neither can they. And the synopsis reads, two out-of-work actors, the anxious, luckless Marwood and his acerbic alcoholic friend Withnail, spend their days drifting between their squalid flats, the unemployment office and a pub. When they take a holiday by mistake at the country house of Withnail's flamboyantly gay uncle, Monty, they encounter the unpleasant side of the English countryside, tedium, terrifying locals and torrential rain. Very funny film, a classic. It's on a lot of people's favourites lists, and I can understand why. It's very funny. It's early Richard E. Grant, and it said acerbic in there, and that's very much true. So, Shaun of the Dead, directed by Edgar Wright, 2004, 99 minutes long, a romantic comedy with zombies. You've seen Shaun of the Dead, haven't you?
I've yet to see this film.
Oh, fuck. Oh. The synopsis is, Shaun lives a supremely uneventful life, which revolves around his girlfriend, his mother, and above all, his local pub. This gentle routine is threatened when the dead return to life and make strenuous attempts to snack on ordinary Londoners. I'm amazed you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead. You've seen Hot Fuzz, haven't you?
Yeah, that was first time this year as well.
I would argue that I've got two of the best classic British comedies on my list. Both British, completely by accident. They happen to be British, but they happen to be British. I've gotten proper into my chimney sweep British.
Proper Cockney.
Proper Cockney. Oh, yeah. You can't pull the stickers off the Rubik's Cube.
Tell your mum that.
I can't believe you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead. All right. I think I know which way I'm going to go with yours, mate. I fancy a bit of a laugh, to be honest. And I'm going to knock out Whiskey Galore, and I'm going to suggest that we watch Wine Country.
There you
Because
go.
you know, you said it's a comedy directed by a comedian with
Yes.
a lot of comedian powers in it. So I quite fancy watching that one, mate. Where are you leaning on my list?
I think I'm gonna watch Shaun of the Dead. I don't know if you're gonna watch it, but I'm definitely choosing that film.
You're choosing Shaun of the Dead and you're knocking out with Nell and I.
Yes.
Okie doke. Awesome. So for our Drinks in Films episode, we're going to be watching Shaun of the Dead and Wine Country.
Honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
What did I have? I had Sideways, which was a film about wine. The Indian Cocktail, Blood and Wine. That's got what's that actor's name?
Andrew McCarthy.
Jack Nicholson. There was a film. Was that? Oh no, there was a short film that goes for 3 minutes, and it was called Pina Colada.
Pina Colada.
Yeah, let's have some pina coladas next week when we do this podcast. That'd be delightful. Coca-Cola Kid was another option. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which isn't technically. Well, they do drink a fair bit because they're in.
I've seen that. It's crap.
You don't like it?
No, I thought it was crap.
Good thing I didn't put it on the list. Oh, there was a film called Whiskey Fist. Is that a documentary? Oh, it's a short film. It's a short film. Maybe I'll watch it randomly next week. A branding intern loses the life he once had after encountering a mysterious blonde and her whiskey bottle, but gains something very special in return. Interesting.
Is what he gains a fist in? Is that what it is?
I'll watch it next week and I'll let you know.
Alrighty.
The Rum Diaries, which I've seen many years ago. The Lost Boys, vampire drinking blood.
It's a bit tenuous, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then The Drunken Angel.
All right, I've never heard of a lot of your films, actually. Yeah. I thought Casablanca, because Rick's Caff, kind of set in that bar, innit? I thought Blues Brothers, because probably there's a bar in it, which I can't remember, but probably. Train Spotting, because they're always pissed and high, aren't they? An American Werewolf in London, because the pub in it is called The Slaughtered Lamb and Rick Mayall's in it, and that scene stands out to me in that film. Amelie, because she works in a kind of a cafe bar.
Works in a cafe, yeah.
Yeah, and The World's End, another Edgar Wright film. I couldn't pick 2 Edgar Wright films, and that is the weakest out of the 3 Cornetto trilogy movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I could come up with.
Amazing.
I mean, every time I typed in bar films or drinks in films, fucking Coyote Ugly came up, and there's not a chance in hell I was going to choose that.
Oh my God. Why did we not choose Coyote Ugly? Dan is done with the podcast after that comment. He's walking away right now.
I'll tell you what, before we move on to the next section, I'm just going to go to Little Boy's room very, very quickly. So I'll be back in 2 minutes, all right?
Okay.
I'm not editing any of this out.
You'll just have to listen to me while Dan goes to Little Boy's room. Maybe I could say my review right now. Dan won't have to hear it. And then that's it. Then we'll finish off the pod. And you guys can all go to bed or whatever you're doing. Ah, bloody goopy. I finished my review. Yeah, I finished my review, Dan, so it's all good. You don't have to listen to it.
Oh, so when I go to edit it, then there'll be a perfect review of Gooby.
Yeah, 5 out of 5. Bloody brilliant film.
Oh, you're scoring it out of 5, are you?
No, God, no. Gooby came out in 2019, 99 minutes long. Tagline is, because everybody needs a friend. Love. Isn't that nice? Everybody needs a friend. That's lovely.
Everybody needs a Gooby.
Everybody needs a Gooby. And the synopsis is, imagine if you had a 6-foot tail monster. Tail? Let me say that again.
6-foot tail.
I can't speak today. I've gone all cockney all of a sudden after talking about whiskey. Okay, let me say that again. Imagine.
Maybe this is a dream.
Maybe it is a tree.
I'd be really pissed off if I woke up from my dream now and I just done a whole podcast in my dream, and I woke up and it was Tuesday morning and we had to do the whole podcast again.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Synopsis is, imagine if you had a 6-foot tall monster who helped you through the rough times when you were 11. Willie is terrified about moving into his family's new home. He's convinced it's filled with evil space aliens out to get him. In response to his... Yep. In response to his wish for someone to save him, Gooby comes to life, a lovable, full-size, scraggy, orange, furry creature. This is such a big synopsis, FYI. This is pretty much the plot of the whole film.
There's a plot?
There's a plot? No, there isn't. Who in fact seems more frightened of the world than Willie. The two have hair-raising adventures and learn something about power of friendship. In the end, Gooby fulfills Willie's initial wish by bringing Willie and his dad together in a touching and exciting climax. That is pretty much what the film's about, guys.
Yeah, they just explained the whole film.
Yeah. Yeah, so Willie.
Little Willie.
Little Willie. Ha ha ha.
I made a joke about a penis.
About a tiny penis.
About a tiny penis. Little Willie.
Little Willie. Young Willie, who is... Oh my God. Get through this, Nicole. Get through this. So yeah, Will is 11 years old, and his mum and his family move into a new home, and he sees all of these random alien creatures, and there's a noise. I think the first night he moves into his house, and he freaks out. He's like, oh, I think he mentions Gooby. I can't really remember. And then all of a sudden, Gooby, who is his childhood toy, who was left at his old house, comes to life, somehow gets to his new house, and Willie freaks out. He's like, oh my God, there's this big bear. And he's like, Gooby, what the hell?
Doesn't he live in a shed?
He finds him behind the shed. And he goes, oh, yes, this is your new little spot because you can't live in the house with me. And Gooby's like, no, I can't live in this shed. This is not appropriate. So then he ends up living in the attic, but then he makes a lot of noise. So then he somehow ends up in the shed again.
The drama.
Yeah, the drama. Willie is also, so he's moved to a new school and doesn't feel like he belongs there. And then there was one Halloween, he goes to the movies, and his schoolmates think that Gooby is his dad, dressed up in a bear costume.
Right.
His school friends want to watch this scary movie. And
Big Bruce.
Yes, that's right. Big Bruce. And the person who was selling the tickets was like, oh, do you have an adult to be in this movie with? And they're like, oh, yeah, they're in the car. And then Gooby saves the day. He's like, oh, yeah, these kids are coming in with me. And his school friends think that he's the coolest kid in town. So then they become friends with him, and then he leaves Gooby behind, and Gooby's really sad. And then Gooby disappears for some reason. And then one night, I know, this is such a boring. Yeah, that's not
the comedy bit.
No, is there any comedy bits in this film? No, none at all.
I mean, it looks pretty funny to me.
It looks pretty shit. Oh God! And then Gooby disappears. Then he somehow gets in touch. I watched this film a couple of weeks ago, and I've kind of forgotten what's happened because obviously it's a bit shit, and I don't really want to remember this film ever again.
You've done 7 Rubik's cubes since you've watched this film.
Yeah, and I didn't take any of the stickers off. And then somehow Gooby ends up in his dad's old childhood house, and that's right.
Yeah.
So Willie ends up he's missing, and his dad and his mum's freaking out, and then somehow Gooby calls his dad to go to this location, and Gooby must have been his dad's childhood toy, and he sees him in real life. He's like, "Oh my god, Gooby's a life-size bear now." And then it's no secret that Gooby's been hiding all this time. So Gooby gets introduced to the family, and he's part of the family for like a week or two. And in the end, Gooby realizes that he needs to move on. You know, Willie doesn't need him anymore. You know, he's a big boy now. He doesn't need someone to.
He's a big Willie now.
He's a big Willie now. um, so then Gooby ends up being a small bear, and Will gives the bear to a young girl in the home department store, and that is the end of the film.
And then Gooby starts to terrorize another young child.
Another child. Yeah. Oh god.
Isn't there a bit where he gets stuck on a crane?
So yeah, so what happens is Will he had an accident in school. Gooby hears a voice message, and then next minute there's another call from his dad saying, "Oh, you know, there's this emergency," but the emergency that he's got is a work emergency. So Gooby goes into his Willie's dad's ute and thinks that he's heading to the school. And because his dad works in construction, he somehow ends up on a crane, and his dad's colleagues are like, "Is that a bear on a crane?" And Gooby's like waving in the background. It's a bit weird. It's a weird film.
For our British listeners, could you just explain what a ute is, please?
Oh, what do you guys?
Because if you haven't
call a
seen
ute?
Neighbours, I don't think you'd know. Pickup truck,
A
I
pickup
guess.
truck.
Like a Toyota Hilux, I guess.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Welcome to Translations with the Swinge Picks podcast.
Aussie translations for British translations for Aussie things.
Yes.
There's a voiceover for Gooby, and then the person who was standing as Gooby was a completely different person.
Okay.
It was really
The voice was Robbie Coltrane, who's a British actor.
Hagrid from Harry Potter.
I know him from Cracker, but yes. Anyway, Robbie Coltrane. Eugene Levy's in this as a teacher as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, his character is very odd. He's like, "Have you ever heard of this book that he supposedly made?" He goes, "I am the author, and I made 3 books," and none of the kids know what the hell he's talking about. He's a very odd teacher, and
He's an odd duck.
And he randomly sees Gooby and is like, wants to get a photo of him to prove something.
There's that hilarious bit when he has the camera upside down. He has it upside down. That's the joke. He has it upside down and he realizes and turns it the right way.
Oh my god.
Brilliant joke. Brilliant joke.
Such a shit film. Well done, mate.
Did you have the budget and box office on this?
I didn't. No, I didn't think that far. Do you?
Yes. Yeah, I do actually. The budget was 6.5 million and the box office was £3,234.
Oh, God. I'm really surprised by that. It's like a 10 out of 10 film for me.
Is it?
10 out of 10 of how fucking terrible this film was.
If you're reverse scoring it, yeah.
Yeah. God,
What was your actual score then out of 10? If you had to score it out of 10, if you had to, like pretend you're doing a film podcast, what would you?
If I was doing a film podcast, I would probably give this half a point out of 10.
Wow.
I don't know why this film was created. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you know, you grow up and you don't need other people. No, that's not the point of the story.
The point of the story is a giant bear. Were you not watching this film, Nicole?
Humphrey B. Bear. That's an Aussie classic. You know, Humphrey B. Bear would be a resemblance of Gooby if any
Okay.
Aussies are listening to this podcast.
Humphrey B. Bear. I'm writing this down because I need to go and look it up after I've done my Rubik's Cube.
That's it. Let's move on.
All
I'm
right,
done.
let's move on. So
Fucking
moving on then
groovy.
to the polls. Last time I chose for you Monster, and you chose for me The Secret Dare to Dream. And you put this poll on, and I don't know the
Yes.
results.
So there was a total of 6 votes, and 3 of them went to you, 3 of them went to me.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a draw. I was always going to ask people to help me out, but I got too busy with work, and I was just like, oh, let's go to a toss. Let's see.
oh, what a shame. Let's have a toss.
If you lose, I will definitely watch this film with you next week and review it with you.
Really?
Dare to Dream. Yeah, I want to see how terrible it is.
It's got Katie Holmes and Josh Lucas in it, isn't it?
I know.
The Secret.
Great.
That was an inspired choice, by the way. Hats off to you. All right, let's look for something to toss, shall we? What are we tossing?
Look. I'm tossing whatever's in my hand right now.
Oh, you've got a coin. All right, then.
I've got a coin.
Coin tosser.
All right, you choose. Heads or tails?
Tails never fail.
Oh, do they? Oh my god, please be heads. No! No!
Is that tails? Oh my
I'm
god.
done. Oh no!
My fortune has turned around completely because for the 3rd time in a row, you're watching another Stitch Up and you have to watch Monster.
I was wanting you to watch that film. I might just watch your film as well, just for shits and gigs.
What, The Secret Dare to Dream?
Oh, what a shame.
Oh,
What
it is sort of
a
a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
But not really. I had so many secret jokes in my back pocket ready to go. Oh, do you know what? It's because I said to the universe that I'm going to win. Of course it is.
Oh my god. That's why you didn't have to watch That's why you didn't have to watch the film, because you know the theory about this film.
I visualized it. I said, I'm definitely going to win the poll, universe. And it came true. Ooh. I'm going to tell the universe I'm going to solve this Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. You're just going to stare at it and it's going to
do itself. So, Monster.
Fuck you. Fuck. I did not want to watch this film.
Oh, right. I guess we need to pick the films for the next poll, which it's my turn to do the poll. I know what I'm going to choose for you.
Do you?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Am I going first?
Yes.
Okay. Considering it's December and it's Christmas time and there's so many terrible Christmas films out, I thought Operation Christmas Drop for you.
Operation Christmas Drop. Is this about an old and tired Santa Claus that drops a hippo off to a child?
No, it's about an army base that does a Christmas drop to rural islands around the area, and the US the US wants to close it down, so they send someone over, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it for you, mate, because if you lose next week, then you'll get to watch this amazing film, and I know exactly what it's about because I watched it the other week.
I was going to say, it sounds a little bit like you've seen it.
Yeah, I've watched so many horrible Christmas films just to see what I shall give you.
I didn't think about doing a Christmas theme, actually, but I'll do a Christmas one for you next time, because the one I've chosen for you is not a Christmas film. Well, there might be Christmas in it. Actually, I've not seen it, to be fair, but it's on a lot of lists for being one of the worst films ever made. And it's called Mac and Me.
No, I actually have this on my list, and I was potentially going to choose this week.
Remove it off the list because I've chosen it for you already.
Oh, funny. Brilliant. Mac.
Yeah, are you
only.
gonna lose 4 in a row next time?
Wouldn't that be nice for you?
For me, yeah, it would be great.
Don't get too excited, mate.
All right, I'm not going to count my horses. That's not
No.
right. I'm going to count my goobies.
We need to go.
We need to go. We need to go. We've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. So if you've made
Yeah.
it this far, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate all the listens and downloads that we're getting at the moment. If you want to catch up with me, I'm on Instagram at flick.face. The show on Instagram is Twin Peaks Pod. If you want to email us, it's twinpeakspod@gmail.com. Where are you on the socials, mate?
I am on Instagram at Chikanika or Nika Creative.
Oh, wonderful. If you'd like to support the show, we're on Ko-fi at Twin Peaks Podcast. If you want to help Nicole get a new microphone and headphones set up, it definitely helps our technical difficulties. If you want to support the show, then head over to there. It would be appreciated, but you don't have to. We don't mind.
No.
We do it for fun anyway. And I guess all there is to say now is we have to say goodbye to somebody, don't we?
Yes. Goodbye, Mr. Norris.
Goodbye, Chuck Norris, and see you next Tuesday, Australia.
Laters.
Bye.